For over 35 years, the Cacciatore family has provided state-of-the-art auto collision repairs. V&J Auto Body is not only certified to repair all makes and models, V&J is one of the few auto body repair shops certified by Tesla to repair and recalibrate their automobiles, as well as other electric and hybrid vehicles. Detailed repairs combined with award-winning concierge service makes V&J the only choice for your collision repair needs. V&J will pick up your automobile wherever on Long Island you are, provide you with a rental, and deliver your vehicle when the job is complete. Too good to be true? Visit VJAutobody.com. That's VJAutobody.com. Come over and meet the crew. VJ Auto Body's 2 state-of-the-art facilities are equipped with the latest technologies in auto repair. Let V&J communicate with your insurance company for you and deliver back to you a detailed, perfectly repaired vehicle. Contact V&J Auto Body by visiting VJAutobody.com or call 631-226-0070. That's 631-226-0070. All right, good afternoon, everyone out there. This is the one and only, your humble host, Peter Crouch with Crash Course Radio. Welcome to another amazing show here, where it's always excitement beyond your wildest expectations, where we like to say we're making the mundane interesting and, listening to things you don't want to listen to, reading the things you don't want to read, and interpreting that stuff and then delivering it to you here on the radio, as we've been doing for a little over a year now. Pretty exciting. When I first got behind this mic, I would have never thought I'd be sitting here talking to you fine folks a little over a year. But that's the way it goes, right? When you stick with something and it's good and it works and you put your head to the grind and things keep moving along. And we do keep moving along. We keep growing, all right, as we've expanded this show, all right. It is now a live show, all right. And we've been doing dynamite stuff with that. Speaking of live, all right, if you'd like to talk to us today, all right, and I say us because we have a special guest in the studio here, and we're real excited about that, and we will be getting to that person shortly. But 631-451-1039, 631-451-1039. All right, get you to talk to little old me here, all right, and whatever's on your mind, if it's pertaining to a claim, insurance claim, filing a claim, you're involved in a claim, in the middle of the claim, you have questions, we got answers, all right, if your car's been in a wreck, you don't know what to do, all right, or you're stuck at some place that you don't really like and you're not really satisfied, well, give me a call and I'm going to help you find a solution to that. Hey, folks, don't forget, like I said, we're always evolving here, right? So we're on Instagram, Facebook, and now Spotify, YouTube, and Anchor, all right? And I have to have to fess, I don't know what Anchor is. I wasn't a Navy guy. I was an Army ground pounder. So I don't know much about the Navy, but Anchor, YouTube, and Spotify, right? All good stuff. So if that's your thing, you can now find us over there as well. All right, real psyched about the YouTube because, I've been talking about that for a while, and we were actually able to get that off the ground. So all good stuff, all good ways you can reach out to us, all right? Keep in touch. By the way, collisionservicenetwork.com, that's where you want to be, all right? If where you need to be is getting your car fixed at an amazing body shop or finding a personal injury attorney, or finding an amazing insurance broker, all right, all of which are going to work for you and make sure that you get the best outcome possible. So, you know the deal, right? If you've been listening to me, hey, folks, if you've been following the show and you're a frequent listener, well, thank you very much, all right? My deepest appreciation. I really appreciate everybody, all right? Keep spreading the word, all right? We continue to grow and expand. I keep getting great feedback. We continue to reach out and help many individuals. This show has helped many folks, both here on the air and off the air, right? And in all matters, right? We help people with liability issues. We help people filing a claim, and we help people with respect to getting their car fixed, all right? As well as injury, right? We've spoken about that at length here, about the importance about understanding personal injury, your options, bodily injury, and all those aspects of the insurance personal auto policy, right? And we're going to get into that today because our special guest happens to be an expert in that field, all right? And he's raising his hand over there. I can't wait to talk to him. He's got a wealth of knowledge and experience that he's going to bring to bear here for us and for you, all right? Because that's what we like to do here is talk to you folks out there. All right, speaking of talking to the folks, all right, if you've been listening to me, you know the mantra, all right? We're giving you information and knowledge you need and can use, and, of course, advice you can trust, all right? And that's never been truer than here today. And, folks, we are the voice of the collision industry, all right? Been saying that from the beginning. Make no mistake about it. Of course, that's because little old me is behind this mic every Tuesday afternoon talking to you guys, folks out there. All right. So as we get started here, first I want to reach out and say once again, all right, we did just recently add a new partner. Right. As I said, we're always growing here and expanding. So congratulations to Paul Wilson and the team over at Northern Boulevard Collision in Great Neck. Hey, so if you're in Great Neck or you're in that part of Nassau County, that's just the place you need to go, folks. All right, Paul and his team over there, they're going to do an amazing job for you. As I said, I personally go to all these facilities and I inspect them myself. All right, this is an outstanding facility, modern in all sense of the word. All right, both in equipment, technicians, as well as their processes and their training. All right, great people there. Their front staff is mostly old insurance guys. I shouldn't say old. That's hysterical. They are insurance professionals, all right? What I mean by that is these are folks like myself who are in the industry, okay? So they're going to be able to bring that experience to bear for you, all right, when dealing with your insurance company. All right, so Paul, once again, thank you very much for joining Collision Service Network. Look forward to working with you guys for quite a while. Folks, Northern Boulevard Collision, all right, they are the folks to contact, and you can reach Paul and his team at 646-247-4139, and they are located at 325A Great Neck Road, Great Neck, New York, all right? So if you're in that area and you need that kind of work, collision work, all right, if your car's been in an accident, all right, please call Northern Boulevard Collision. Those guys are going to do the right thing by you, right? You know what I always say here, they're going to fix your car the way you want to, not the way the insurance guys do, and most importantly, what do I say here all the time? They're going to look out for your interest, all right? Not the interest of the insurance company. It's a big difference, all right? And here on Crash Course Radio, we've done a fantastic job of illustrating that difference, right? By contrasting the privately owned and operated auto body shops with the insurance-sponsored shops, right? Or what you might hear termed direct repair programs, insurance-sponsored program. All right, folks, the bottom line is all that, whatever you want to call it, all right, you want to avoid that at all costs. All right, and I dedicated some time last week to that. All right, this isn't something you want to get involved with. All right, works for the insurance guys, doesn't work too well for the consumer, though. All right, and that's all right. All right, like we say all the time here, we're not here to demonize the insurance industry. Okay, they have a role to play, and it is a significant role. We wouldn't be able to have a civilized society without it. But it is the humble opinion of Collision Services Network that role should be very diminished and minimized, all right? And I don't think that that's exactly where it is today. And Collision Services Network is helping the privately owned and operated auto body industry, all right, to kind of walk some of that back, all right? We're providing you folks out there with a real option, all right, to go ahead and find a shop that's going to work for you, fix your car the way you want it, and represent your interests. Like I say, folks, you need to take a hard look in the mirror, right? If you're at an insurance company shop, right, now you got to ask yourself, you got to be honest with yourself, and something happens, whatever it is, problem with the paint, problem with the repairs, problem with the claim, all right, is that body shop, are they going to be real eager to want to go to the plate for you? I don't know. Maybe, right? I don't think so, but I'm sure maybe a few of them might. I think the majority won't, and if they do, how far are they going to go, right? Probably not that far. You know the old cliche, right? You're not going to bite the hand that feeds you. And that's fine. That's business. Hey, we get it. You know, contracts, everybody's got to write the contract. All right. But as I said, it's not something that's very favorable to the consumer. All right. So instead, what you're going to do is you're going to go to collisionservicenetwork.com, find yourself an amazing shop there. All right, off our network, and those folks are going to help you out, and they're going to be able to walk the walk with you from the beginning to the end. All right, and that goes with filing the claim, all right, as well as obviously fixing your car and then the delivery process. So we're going into the last minute here of this segment. Again, I can be reached at 631-451-1039. All right, this is a live show. You get to talk to little old me. And as we get closer to the end of this segment, I just want to segue in here. All right. So when we come back from break, we got a really interesting, amazing guest here. All right. Jeff Wasserman. He has been a friend of mine, both professionally and personally, for a number of years now. He's also a representative of one of the fine firms that we have on our network. Okay. And he'll discuss that and much more. We're going to get into uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. Right? You've heard me mention that here before, folks. This is a very, very important topic. I've stressed this. I can't stress it enough. Nationwide, they say it averages about 13% of people now nationwide, if you can believe this, all right, operate their vehicle with no insurance. All right. And in other areas, it's as high as 21%. I can assure you, in the metropolitan area here, we're probably in the 21%. All right, so very important stuff we're going to get to here with Jeff when we come back off the break. All right, so I want to say before we go to break, all right, real quick, if you have any problems with an insurance claim, all right, with liability, okay, if you're in the middle of a claim and the insurance company, you don't think that they're treating you right, or you don't think you're getting a fair shake, or you don't understand liability, it's a very complex matter. All right, we've helped individuals with this. Please reach out to me, all right? And you can reach me here on the show, of course, every Tuesday afternoon. And you can reach me at 631-452-2569. All right? Listen, folks, we're going to be back in just a short while here. And like I said, we're going to introduce Jeff, and we'll get into some interesting stuff today. See you in a little bit. All right, cue up the high-low riders. Welcome back, everyone. This is, of course, Crash Course Radio, live as always here in the amazing studios of 103.9. And being live, you can call us if you have something on your mind. All right, 631-451-1039. Folks, don't forget, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify. All right, I believe that has to do with podcasting. So if that's your thing, terrific, because now you can find Collision Services Network there as well, YouTube and Anchor, all right? We keep moving forward here. We love it, all right? The more we do that, the more we're able to serve you fine folks out there. All right, hey, speaking of high-low rider, all right, this is Sarah. I think I mentioned the last stayed out. I'm over on Lakeland Avenue 2 weekends ago, and one of these guys actually pulls up next to me. I mean, now I'm a 70s kid, grew up in the 70s. Jeff's laughing here, looking at me. He's thinking the same thing, right? The 60s, 70s. And this was like a popular thing. I mean, probably more so in the late 60s. But I just thought it was so funny to see. I haven't seen it in years, obviously. And sure enough, there he was with the front end up, and then he started to go, and the back end came up. It was just hysterical. So the low rider lives again, all right? Not only on the radio and our music, our intro, but it lives again on the street. So, hey, all right. So as I said, we have a really interesting and amazing guest. All right, so excited to have the one and only Jeff Wasserman here. All right, Jeff is, of course, a friend, both professionally and personally. All right, and Jeff has been at the business of lawyering for many, many years. He's been on both sides of that coin, both on the personal injury as well as the criminal side. So he is, to say the least, very well-versed and experienced when it comes to our legal system. So good for Jeff on that. So let's get right to it. Jeff, welcome to Crash Course Radio.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for having me here today.
Absolutely.
It's a real pleasure to be here.
So why don't you tell the folks out there a little bit about yourself and, what you're doing now, who you're associated with. Hold on. Jeff, by the way, is Jeff and his firm. Of course, you can find Jeff and his firm on our network. All right. They are an amazing bunch of folks over there. All right. They are, like I said, folks, they are small enough, all right, to give you the personal touch, all right, to walk the walk with you. All right, unlike the big guys, the 888 guys, all right, what do I always say here? All right, these are the type of firms, folks, that are going to be with you the whole way. They're not going to hand you off to some first-rate guy right out of law school. All right, they're going to be with you from beginning to end. All right, so you get the personal touch, but, and this is important, they give you the dynamite results that you deserve and expect. Isn't that true, Jeff?
Yes, it is. Thank you again for having me here today. So just a little about myself, my background. My family's been in the insurance business really for 3 generations. My grandfather sold life insurance for New York Life.
Nice.
Yeah, in fact,
great company.
When my father passed away, I went through his things, and I found his book of business where he actually kept a book and a record of all the policies sold. And then my father followed in his footsteps and became a property and casualty guy. Nice. And from that, he encouraged me to go to law school, which I thank him for even to this day.
Sure.
And I've been doing it ever since for 43 years. Can you believe that? And I'm only 37. So I don't know how you figure that out, Peter.
I don't know how you figured that out. You're going backwards after a certain age.
I do have a lot of experience, and I do have some background in insurance and stuff. But all kidding aside, the topic that we're here to talk about today is a very serious topic.
Yes.
And I've seen so many times over the years where people come into my office, get into a major accident, and I say, bring in your insurance policy. And they say to me, why? I said, well, the person who hit you, And I remember the days when there were 10 and 20 policies where the most you can collect was $10,000. I had some young kid in the Bronx who was playing dodgeball with the cars and unfortunately lost. And I think he broke every bone in his body. But the car that hit him had $10,000 worth of coverage. And I said, did you have an automobile policy? No. So the reason you ask these questions is because New York is a great state for purchasing insurance. And unlike any other state, you could protect yourself. And that's what you need to do. A lot of brokers don't tell you this. And a lot of direct writers don't want to tell you this, like Allstate, State Farm, Geico. They won't sell you this because you can purchase uninsured motorist coverage. So for that poor kid who got hit in the Bronx, who got $10,000, if he had proper coverage and he had an automobile, he could have protected himself by purchasing more insurance coverage, something called supplemental insurance. So the way that works is as follows. If we take that $10,000, if he had a policy that covered him for $100,000 for bodily injury and he purchased the additional coverage, which is reasonably priced, it's unbelievably how inexpensive it is. If he purchased that additional coverage, he would have been able to collect an additional $90,000, the $100,000 and the $10,000 set off. So I find it very sad in ways where I see this. I had a guy once, he was driving a car from, if you remember, The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, of course.
This guy was the driver for one of the wolves, for the wolf. And he's driving a Mercedes. Can you imagine this? He's driving a Mercedes. The Mercedes, the car is covered for $100,000 worth of property damage, but the idiot only purchased $10,000 worth of uninsured motorist coverage. So the kid gets hit from a car that leaves the scene of the accident, which this would protect you for. Right. And all the kid can collect in major surgery was $10,000. Here's a guy, the Wolf of Wall Street, didn't have the right coverage because he didn't go to the right broker. So it's all connections. That's why, I've dealt with V&J Auto Body, and I must say, my personal testimonial, they are professional. When you get the car back from them, it's as if you walked out of the showroom the day you purchased the car. They don't leave any stone unturned to put your car in the condition that it needs to be in. Right. And the same thing, you need to go to a law firm that will protect you and look out for you and make sure you collect every single penny that you're entitled to.
Absolutely.
An insurance policy has all different types of coverages. It has what we're talking about today, uninsured motorist coverage. It has no full coverage. It has collision coverage. It has towing coverage. I mean, these are so many benefits that people don't understand. You have so many different pockets that you can collect money for when you have the need to and have the accident. And
it can be a convoluted, complicated process, right, Jeff? I mean, it's probably not recommended for the faint of heart to delve into by themselves, right?
I just brought my new renewal policy that I have. It's like multiple pages, written in legalese. I can't imagine how a layperson can go through all this. Right. You need to go to a law firm that understands this. Right now, I didn't give you my whole resume, but in my twilight years, I got smart and I affiliated with a firm now, and Rosner, Rusno, and Shahabian, I think we're responsible here also. Yes. And they are very aggressive in getting you the most money that you could possibly collect on the policy.
Right. And they are, and as I said, folks, they are one of our network partners. So you can find them at Collision Services Network. All right. Great bunch of guys, straightforward. All right. And as Jeff said, the most important facet about all this is they're a small enough firm where they're not going to hand you off. And you got to understand the way, and Jeff can get into this in a little more detail. All right, there's a reason why there's a lot of personal injury firms. All right, I told the story a couple of weeks ago. I'm driving upstate, and every other billboard has a different face on there. Hey, come with me. I get the most money. Folks, these guys can't all be batting a high average, all right? And if they are, it's probably not giving you the full details on that story, right? You see the guy that says, I got $3 million when I went to this guy. Yeah, what they didn't tell you is they probably collected from 6 different sources, though. All right?
Well,
It's not-
sometimes they tell you they collected, they recovered $3 million, but how much did they actually collect? Maybe the insurance company only had $25,000 worth of
Correct.
coverage.
Correct.
I've taken defaults and inquests for people for multi-million dollars, but sometimes you just don't collect because there's no coverage there or people don't have assets.
Right.
But we're aggressive. We go after. We try to get people the full compensation that they're entitled to under the law, and we look at the policy. For these uninsured motorist claims all the time. The first thing a client does when they come in the office, we say to them, do you have an insurance policy? What do I need to show you my insurance policy for? What does that have to do with anything? I say, look, you purchased this policy. You paid premium for it. You may be paying $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. And the only time you really need it is when you're in a serious accident. Now I need to look at it, see if you got the proper advice and got the right coverages for which we can pursue a claim for personal injury.
Absolutely.
So
all right. So, folks, listen.
I'm getting
Jeff,
drowned out now.
What is Jeff talking about? What we talk about here all the time is having information. That's great, but knowing what to do with that information, we say, is even better, right? And that's what we're doing here. When we come back from the break, we're going to delve deeper into this. We're going to ask Jeff about the limits and purchasing of UM and underinsured and all that, all right? So we'll be right back. Stick with us. It's good stuff. You're going to learn a lot here today. For over 35 years, the Cacciatore family has provided state-of-the-art auto collision repairs. V&J Auto Body is not only certified to repair all makes and models, V&J is one of the few auto body repair shops certified by Tesla to repair and recalibrate their own automobiles, as well as other electric and hybrid vehicles. Detailed repairs combined with award-winning concierge service makes V&J the only choice for your collision repair needs. V&J will pick up your automobile wherever on Long Island you are, provide you with a rental, and deliver your vehicle when the job is complete. Too good to be true? Visit VJAutobody.com. That's VJAutobody.com. Come over and meet the crew. VJ Auto Body's 2 state-of-the-art facilities are equipped with the latest technologies in auto repair. Let V&J communicate with your insurance company for you and deliver back to you a detailed, perfectly repaired vehicle. Contact V&J Auto Body by visiting VJAutobody.com or call 631-226-0070. That's 631-226-0070. Right, welcome back, everyone, to the one and only Crash Course Radio, Long Island's first and only radio show dedicated to supporting and promoting the privately owned and operated auto body industry here across the wonderfully fruited plain of Long Island, and soon to be statewide, all right, as we keep moving forward. And we have an amazing guest in our studio here this afternoon, Mr. Jeff Wasserman. All right, we've been having some fun with what he's got on his mind, which is personal injury.
Thank you,
and
Peter.
more, absolutely. And more importantly, folks, a little thing called uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage. Hey, folks, listen, you know what we do here, right? I say it every Tuesday afternoon. As consumers, we understand, all right? Well, I want to make you folks understand that you have rights, expectations, and options, all right, when dealing with the insurance company. You do. It's not a one-sided thing like most people think, the contract. All right, and why choosing just any body shop today is a very bad idea, right? Throwing a dart up against the wall, asking Uncle so-and-so or the neighbor across the street, hey, who just fixed your car? Might not be your best choice, all right? That's why you're going to go to collisionservicenetwork.com and you're going to find one of our amazing network partners there, all right? And they'll fix your car for you, not for the insurance guys. Most importantly, they're going to represent your interest, all right? Not the interest of the insurance companies. Hey, 631-451-1039. That's 631-451-1039. We are talking about very important stuff here, folks. I want to throw down the gauntlet out there. All right, somebody call me right now and let me know if they know how much uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage they have, or if they even know if they have it. All right, how about that one? I want to hear from the folks out there. Give us a call. Let me know if you're the smart guy in the room today. Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Anchor. You can find us there and much more. And, of course, Crash Course Radio every Tuesday afternoon here. Live as always, 3 to 4. Hey, folks, so do you need uninsured motorist coverage, right? You know that not all states mandate this coverage? I didn't even know that. I had no idea. But I'm going to tell you, read a little statistic here, which is a little chilling, okay? According to the Insurance Information Institute, nearly 13% of drivers countrywide have no insurance, okay? Let that sink in. That's a little scary.
It's unbelievable, Peter.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about this over the break, and it just blew my mind what you told me about the percentages.
And this blew our minds even more, folks. In some states, the number jumps to over 20%. Now, I think we can all sit and scratch our heads and go,
so you got to ask yourself this question.
New York's probably that 20% state, okay?
You got to ask yourself this question. Do you want to take a 1 in 5 chance that when you get behind the wheel tonight and you're driving with your wife or your sweetheart or your children and you're going to the movies or you're going out to dinner, that the person who hit you has insurance? Because if you want to take that chance, that's fine. But the way you cannot take that chance and protect yourself is by looking at your insurance policy and buying the proper coverage. You need to buy uninsured motorists to the full extent possible under the policy, which means as follows. If you have liability insurance, which protects you in case somebody sues you for $100,000, you can buy some coverage, which is uninsured motorists, up until the point of $100,000. Now, what other situations would it cover you? We just talked about somebody not having insurance. But what about a stolen car? Would protect you in those circumstances. What if the car is from North Carolina? And in North Carolina, you only have to have $5,000 worth of insurance. Now, do you want to take a chance that that person driving with the North Carolina plates is not going to hit you tonight and only have $5,000 coverage? Or do you want to buy $100,000 worth of coverage or maybe more to protect yourself in that instance? And it's not that expensive. People, I'm paying so much for insurance already, I'm going to pay more. You're paying for this only in the event that you have an accident.
Right. Very important. Very important.
Otherwise,
folks.
What do you need it for?
Right. And we talked about this over the break too, folks. Listen, everybody throws their hands in the air. Oh, insurance, right? And what do I say? What I've been saying on this show since I got on the air pretty much, right, is that insurance, we understand insurance is an intangible thing, right? It only comes into existence really for all of us when God forbid we need it. We just got in an accident. All right. But like I said to Jeff on the break, not a very good time to then get out the policy and start rifling through it and find out what you exactly bought and is covered for. Right.
So the policy itself could be overwhelming to people.
Absolutely.
And it can be confusing. That's why you need somebody who could sift through the policy, who's had the experience in dealing with these situations. Stolen cars. You could be a pedestrian walking on the street, somebody in your household gets involved in an accident. The car leaves the scene. We read pick up Newsday every day. Watch Channel 12 News. Turn on Channel 2, 4-7, whatever. Go on the internet. You'll hear every day there's somebody or a drunk driver left the scene and leaves your loved one on the street over there. You need to protect yourself. And if you can't, you should be hiring somebody who has the ability to sift through these policies.
Right. Now what Jeff is getting at here, and I want to ask Jeff this pointedly. So you have the uninsured motorist coverage, right? And you can also have underinsured, correct? I mean,
it's the same thing. They call it some coverage.
Some coverage,
it comes under the category of either. People refer to it as some or supplemental underinsured. So it could be underinsured.
Or uninsured.
The underinsured would come into play when you have the North Carolina driver has the $15,000 worth of coverage, and you have $100,000 worth of coverage on your policy.
Right.
So you can get the additional. They can get a set-off for the 15 if you get but you can get the additional 85. Now, there's also situations where there's a stolen car or somebody doesn't have insurance or they leave the scene of the accident and you don't know who they are.
Right.
Under those circumstances, it would be considered uninsured motorist coverage. So it's uninsured motorist and underinsured motorist, and it's all under the umbrella of supplemental uninsured motorist coverage, or the some portion of the policy.
So, speaking of states, I happen to have a list here. They're telling us that Illinois requires both uninsured and underinsured. In New Hampshire, car insurance is one of several ways to demonstrate financial responsibility if it's purchased. The state requires both uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage to be included in every policy. Other states, Massachusetts, South Carolina, only require uninsured motorists. Okay, so folks, this is a very, once again, convoluted, complex, state-by-state issue, so like Jeff said.
If you're in Massachusetts and you have, I don't know what the minimum there, but it could be $1,530, it could be $2,550.
Right.
Even if you had $100,000 worth underinsured motorists. You wouldn't be able to collect because you wouldn't have underinsured motorists in that state.
Right, exactly.
So but in New York, which is where we are, and that's where we are right now. And that's what we're talking about is New York, and that's where I'm licensed to practice, as well as California, by the way. But New York, you can have both underinsured and uninsured. Now, if you don't understand these concepts and you need to speak to a lawyer, call my firm, Rosner, Rusner, Shahabian. We're at 516-376-0000. That's 516-376-0000. And we'll answer your questions. No charge unless we recover. No fee unless we recover. And if you have a lawyer now who's not doing this for you, you should be running to the hills, whether to me or somebody else who knows how to do this stuff. The first thing, like I said before, during the second part of this day was that you should look at the policy right away.
Absolutely. Hey, we used to stress that all the time, man. And look, I was an insurance professional, folks, for almost 30 years, and I can tell you, I probably hardly ever read my own policy. Now, professionally, I had to know the policy backwards and forwards. But listen, I get it. You know, it's not something like, what do I say here? I joke, right? It's not coffee table fare. It's not going to come up at a barbecue. Hey, I just read part of my policy, boy. You're not going to believe.
I mean, it's written in legalese. People, even some lawyers don't understand it.
Right, but that's what Jeff is saying.
Under these circumstances, should do this and that, and reporting requirements. Right. It's just.
But all the more reason, because we don't want to do these things. You need to call Jeff and his firm, folks. Right, and listen. By the way, they're on our network, collisionservicenetwork.com. All right. So please, if you find yourself in this situation, it's very serious. All right. Don't try and go, wade into these waters or into the weeds like they like to say by yourself. All right. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You call Jeff. All right. And Jeff will be there to help you, and he'll be able to explain everything. Take a look at it. Like you said, it's not going to cost you anything. They're going to look at what you have, what's going on, what your case might be, what your circumstances are, and they're going to make sure that you at least know what's going on, what your rights are, what your expectations are. And if need be, they're going to get involved and represent you.
Yeah, the last thing I want to throw out there is real quick is that some people have no cars, no insurance, and New York State does have something called MVAC, where you can collect if you hit by a car that's not insured as a pedestrian walking across the street or something along those lines.
Okay.
Or stolen cars. So.
Folks, you heard it first here. This is what we do here, right? Crash Course Radio, right? We bring you all the information and knowledge you need and can use and advice you can trust. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Jeff. See you in a little bit, folks. All right, welcome back, everyone. I can't believe we're going cruising into the final segment here, but what can I tell you? That's what happens when you're having so much fun, right? More fun than we should be allowed to have legally. Hey, you know what we're doing here, right? Frustrating the heck out of those insurance guys every Tuesday afternoon with one hand tied behind my back. I tell you, it's raw talent on loan from God. I don't know where it comes from, folks. But we always try and have a good time, and we're having a good time here today with Jeff, all right? He's our amazing guest here today, and we're talking about some very important stuff, all right? Again, not the most exciting stuff, but very important, folks. All right, I can't stress that enough, and I do that here on the show. I know insurance is not the topic of exciting storytelling. It's not coming up at barbecues and family get-togethers and yada yada yada. However, there's a big however here. It does allow us, to function as a civil society, and more importantly, as individuals, right? You can go about your life and not have to worry about, oh my God, if I get hit, or if I get hurt, or I get injured, or I injure somebody else, God forbid. That's why we have this stuff, folks. So you need to understand why it's so important, and you also need to understand when and how, you utilize these coverages. And on that note, we're going to let Jeff take it from here, and he's going to explain to everyone out there today, all right, that when the problem or when the situation arises, if you're injured, folks, listen up. If you get in an accident, a bad accident, and that guy that hit you has got no coverage, and you're injured badly, you're in a situation.
Yeah, that's when you need to file an uninsured motorist claim. And, it's funny, Peter, a lot of times I get this pushback from people, and they say to me, I don't want to sue my insurance company. I'm afraid my rates are going to go up. And I turn to them and I say, let me ask you something. You stopped at a light. Some guy comes along, or woman, or whoever, doesn't matter what their gender is. They come along and you get smashed in the behind, and you go into the steering wheel, your knee hits the console, and you end up in an emergency room, sirens going on the way to the hospital. 6 weeks later, you're in a hospital getting knee surgery or knee replacement or whatever, and then you turn to me and you say, I don't want to sue my insurance company. You're not at fault. So your policy, they cannot raise your insurance. You're not at fault for causing these accidents, and you have the right and you're entitled to do these things under the terms and conditions of your policy.
Now,
so that's why you have that for.
What do we say? What do we say to people that say, "Well, I have health insurance. I could just use that." I have
it doesn't
Medicare,
apply.
Medicaid, and
no fault is primary.
Correct.
So if you want to start putting in it through Medicare, you know what's going to happen? Medicare is going to put a lien. They're going to go after you. They're going to say you have to pay back this money.
Right.
You didn't go through no fault. I don't want to put it through my insurance company. I said New York created this no fault system, whether good or bad. It doesn't matter if you caused the accident, didn't cause the accident, all your bills, as long as they're necessary and reasonable. I'm not here to talk about no fault today. I could probably spend three sessions or 300 sessions
we'll get Jeff
talking
back.
about no fault.
We'll get Jeff back to touch on that.
Because I did that for a long time, no fault. But the answer to your question is your Medicare benefits are not primary. You have to go through the no fault. But the concern I get a lot from people is that I'm afraid my rates are going to go up. I don't want to sue my own insurance company. I say, you don't. And it's a very simple process. The insurance companies agreed with the industry, and they set up that through the American Arbitration Association, these claims are administered by hired permanent arbitrators who hear your cases. You don't have to go into a courtroom in front of a jury. It's a one person who reviews the case. You may have to testify, but for the most part, these cases are resolved. But even if you do, you're not going to a courthouse. You don't have to sit there every day in jury selection or whatever.
If they have to testify, they're going to have the best representation anyway. You guys will be there with them. It's not like they're going to be by themselves.
Absolutely not. Of course we'll be with them. Right. But I'm saying the process actually is a much more streamlined process when it's uninsured motorists. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. Okay. It's a lot quicker. You don't have to go through the court system. There's not a million things of discovery, and you get your day. You get your day in court a lot quicker through the American Arbitration Association. So it's a streamlined process. And again, the fear that people have that their rates are going to go through the ceiling is just unfounded, and it's ridiculous, really, that they hold on to those things, especially when they're injured and they need to. This is, this is their opportunity to collect because they're going to be injured for the rest of their lives. Right. And then they can't go back to the well later on and say, you know what, I should have done. I had a client once, she refused, and she refused to file an uninsured motorist claim because she was afraid her husband, because she was husband's policy, and she had great coverage, was going to fire him. So what happens?
Oh, God.
What happens? They end up getting divorced.
Oh, jeez.
Which is unsaid because she still has two beautiful girls, but she developed a neurological condition that she has to this day. And she came to me crying a year later. I said, Mrs. Smith or Mrs. Jones, I don't want to mention her name on the air. I said, I can't do anything. Right. You told me you didn't want to do this. Right. You made me sign a waiver and say that you don't want. I made you sign a waiver in writing that you're giving up your claims. That's how much I believed that you shouldn't do this. So, people do. And they don't listen to your advice, but you have to, because the point I'm trying to make is that she had severe injuries and she had an opportunity to get compensation, so she would have the ability to pay for people to help her around the house. She couldn't do things. She couldn't work. Right.
Now she had no recourse. So, folks, the moral of that story, folks, and we've all heard it, right, is what might seem, trivial or might seem an inconvenience at this point could end up being something to impact your life very seriously down the road. That's what Jeff's talking about. He's talking about a client who did sustain injuries and for whatever reason just didn't perceive the seriousness of it and was more concerned about the financial side, and as a result, this person developed very serious medical issues from this accident and now came back to Jeff and Jeff couldn't help them, right? Because they basically put themselves in a box that Jeff couldn't get them out of.
Right, because they were afraid that the insurance company, this big, scary beast was going to come after them in the middle of the night. And I don't understand it. It's like, the insurance company is going to come
big bad.
Eat me up. They're people. I mean, they can't cancel your policy. They can't raise your rates. And I mean, It's
And
ridiculous.
it's what you pay for.
You paid for this.
That's the expectation, is that the coverage is there. So if God forbid you need it, you fall back on it. Hey, Jeff, we're going in the last 2.5 minutes. I want real quick just to let the folks know a little bit about, hey, what if they have like passengers in the car, right? You have a couple of people in the car gets wrapped. These people get physically damaged. They get hurt. And we're in the same scenario, right? We got the other guy's, an idiot. He's got no insurance, and we're sitting there scratching our heads. Oh my God, what are we going to do? So is there a recourse?
Yes, they're
for that?
entitled to, if I think I said before that, let's assume for the moment that you purchase a policy and it has over $300,000 worth of coverage. The $100,000 would be for one person.
Correct.
And the $300,000 would cover multiple people. So if there's 4 people
Correct.
in the car, they can collect up to $300,000 if that vehicle that was responsible for the happening of the accident was uninsured or stolen or left the scene or underinsured.
Or just underinsured or uninsured.
Yeah,
correct.
I don't mean to pick on North Carolina. It's a wonderful state.
Poor North Carolina.
But
they're getting hammered today.
They're getting hammered at the Supreme Court yesterday also. So
Jeez.
well, it's 2 days in a row.
Oh my God! So folks, listen. So look, Jeff is to me, it's a very serious scenario. Let's say you're in the car with your family, all right, or you're in the car with a bunch of your friends. You decide this is great. We're going to go out for dinner tonight and have a great time, and then bam, all right, the unexpected. This is the most serious thing happens. So you get in a bad accident, an intersection, only to find out that not only are you injured, but some of your passenger are, okay, and they don't have any insurance on the other car. Folks, again, I know these are things we don't like to think about, obviously, but we do need to think more about that.
When you told me before that 20% of the people in this country don't have insurance, there's some states that they're not required. So there's no sign as you come across the Midtown Tunnel or you come over the Verrazano Bridge. You can't come into the state if you don't have insurance. We're going to take your car.
Right.
We're going to pound your car. Right. No, people flow. And in a modern age, people driving from Connecticut, from New Jersey, from Pennsylvania,
right.
Virginia. Drive on the Long Island Expressway one day and see how many different states there are.
Oh, it's crazy.
You don't know what coverages
we're going off here, Jeff. Come on, give them your company name again. Where can they find you?
It's called Rosner, Russo, Shahabian. I'm senior litigation counsel over there. 516-376-0000. That's 516-376-0000. Call me if you have any questions about what we spoke about today. No charge. We'll be more than happy to respond to you and give you a succinct and intelligent answer.
All right, folks.
Thanks again, Peter.
And we're out. We'll see you next Tuesday. All right, same time. Everybody have a good weekend. Bye.